Welcome to Daily Dose Radio, a 5-minute devotional podcast studying the Psalms verse by verse. Broadcast from the ever-beautiful Sharonville, Ohio, on the sunny side of Cincinnati. Hey, welcome back to Daily Dose Radio here in the Bible Bistro. We are studying Psalm 93 this week. So have your Bible out. If you do, you want to turn there to Psalm 93. If you don't, if you can't look at the Bible right now, if you're driving or something, I'd be glad to read it for you. We're just doing one verse a day today, or this week. So yesterday was verse 1, today verse 2. Let me read verse 2 for you. Thy throne is established of old. Thou art from everlasting. I said yesterday that we have 7 different things that are said about God. They firmly establish who He is. That's His doctrine or theology, however you want to classify this. Good theology, because it talks about our God. And one of the things that I missed saying yesterday that I should have said was, there at the end of verse 1, the world is also established that it cannot be moved. That statement there at the end, that it cannot be moved, is very important, because there is no variableness in God. He is firm. He is true. He never wavers one way or the other. If He says one thing, that's the way it is. He always reigns. There's never a time that He's not on His throne. There's never a time when He is not in control. He is that way. The Lord reigns. Simple statement. Profound fact. Heavenly truth. He is always reigning. And because of that, His character reflects that, and everything He does also reflects that. Therefore, it's said of the world, it cannot be moved. Why? Because God founded it. God made it. He established it. So if He established it, if He established the world, set it on its foundations, as it were, nothing's going to move the world off those foundations, because God's the one that did it. He's the one that girds Himself with strength and with majesty. And He's the one that reigns. He's in charge of all things. Now, you might think that that's just a bunch of hooey. Well, that's your prerogative to think that. But friend, it's the truth. The Lord reigns. He's in control. So we need to reconcile. I don't know if we need to reconcile ourselves with that or not. Whether we do or not, it doesn't change the fact. This is an eternal truth. It is always true. It is always going to be true. The Lord reigns. Notice that theme of reigning comes over here into verse 2. We're also going to see it in verse 4, and we're going to see it in verse 5. So the idea that the Lord reigns is pinned throughout this entire psalm. So verse 2, the Lord reigns, and then we have this statement, Thy throne is established of old. Thou art from everlasting. This is verse 2. Thy throne is established of old. Yeah, that's right. So the Lord reigns, and if He reigns, He's on a throne, of course. I mean, that's our human imagery, isn't it? And that throne, we see it in the book of Revelation. We see it in the book of Ezekiel. We see it in the book of Isaiah. We see the throne of God in the book of Daniel. The throne of God is pictured over and over again, both Old and New Testament. And so the Lord's reigning. He's reigning from a beautiful throne, sometimes called the rainbow throne because of the vision that Ezekiel saw. And it's established of old, which means it's ancient. There's nobody that's as old as this throne. It was there before there was anything. The Lord reigns. Notice the next phrase, you are from everlasting. So here we have the next in our doctrinal statements, our theology. The first statement was His sovereignty, the second, His might, the third, His creation, and this one, the fourth, His eternal nature. The throne is established of old because the Lord is from everlasting. He is without time limits. He doesn't have a beginning and He doesn't have an end. He has an eternity past and He has an eternity future, and there was never a beginning and there never will be an ending as we look at time. Of course, He stands outside of the timescape, and He controls all things there too. Thou art from everlasting. Okay, join me again tomorrow, and we'll pick up there in verse 3 on Daily Dose Radio. Thanks for listening to Daily Dose Radio. I'm David Smith. The music today has been performed by the Bluegrass Experiment. Thanks again for listening. I'll see you next time on Daily Dose Radio.